name's Brian Bussler. I'm the superintendent of schools in the Oregon School District. And on behalf of the district, welcome to the 2017 retiree honoring ceremony. We are so pleased to have you tonight. I hope when you walked into the new edition we have, you had a little wow. And as we look around and see what the community has generously given us at a huge referendum passage rate, which means nothing to anyone except people like me, because it's always great to know we're supported by the community. And the community passed our $55 million referendum request by almost 65%. That was in 2014. In 2016, you'll recall this last fall, we went back to the community and asked for their support in our teacher compensation plan, and that also passed by approximately 65%. We were the first school district, public school district in Wisconsin to have a local community support their teachers with an approved teacher compensation plan. So I feel incredibly indebted to this community. Our community has been generous with us, and on the flip side, I think we have been generous to the community in terms of our support for kids. For those of you that may not know, we now have almost 4,000 students, actually just a little over 4,000 students in the greater Oregon School District community. And we also know we are on a path of growth. As you either leave the community or come to the community via Highway 14, the Fitchburg corridor along Highway 14 is growing. In school times, when our community is growing, our schools have the opportunity to thrive and grow as well. This is some work that we did 2 years ago in 2014 with a group of approximately 130 community members and or staff members. There's 5 what we value items, and the reason I'm sharing that is all of our retirees, you've been doing this for years and years and years in the community. We just finally documented all of that work. And at the center of our 5 values is the whole child emphasis. And for the retirees, you already know that lesson because you've been doing that for years and years. We also have been focusing on educational equity, trying to shorten up our academic achievement gaps, relevant and empowering learning experiences, caring and professional educators, one of our key components. And tonight is really a night where we recognize those caring and professional educators. And then lastly, something that's been a long-standing tradition in the Oregon School District, and I want for it to continue to go for years into the future, is the strong family and community partnerships, which have been right at the centerpiece of our district. If you haven't seen a great article, you can pick it up at your local newsstand. I don't work for the Oregon Observer, even though I feel like the school district sort of works for the Oregon Observer, because all the news in the paper is about us. And there is a great article on all of our retirees. And Mr. Tom, where are you? I've lost you. There you are. Tom Fisher was the featured person above the fold in color. It is an amazing story about how Tom has touched the lives of students and colleagues and staff and community members, just like all of our retirees have touched the lives of students, colleagues, and staff. So if I seem excited tonight, there's a reason I'm excited. We don't get the opportunity to recognize our colleagues very often, and tonight is one of those opportunities, and we are so proud of the work that all of you have done over the years, and the work that a new group of us will continue to do next year. We're already planning for next year. I know that freaks people out, but we are planning for next year and the year after and the year after that. So before we get to hear some great stories about our retirees, I'd like to turn it over to our school board president, Steve Zock.
Thanks, Brian. And I'm joined today by 2 other board members, Barb Feenan right there, and Tim LeBrun back there. There's 3 of us, so we don't have a quorum, so Gina, we don't have to worry about whether we're posted or not. This is our new boardroom, too. It serves as an educational facility, but it's where we have our board meetings now, and it's really great to have a dedicated spot for us. That's not a hallway that we won't have basketballs going in and out all the time. It's amazing. I see so many familiar faces of those of you who are retiring. This is my 19th year on the board, and I knew you folks before I got on the board, and when we had our little ones running through the school. So it just doesn't seem possible that that much time has passed already. As Brian mentioned, we've got these beautiful facilities. Last year we held a retiree reception down in Brooklyn in their new addition, which has transformed that school and energized the community. We're here tonight in this beautiful space, and Brian referenced the percentage support that we got for not only the building referendum but our teacher referendum. And that doesn't happen in a community unless the community trusts what we're doing and know we're delivering quality. And that not only is dependent on the quality of our educators, but it also has something to do with the fact that we have continuity of educators, that we have people who stay here a long time and get to know us, develop our culture, and be part of our community. And so that's a testament to all of you. And so on behalf of the Oregon School Board and on behalf of the community that we represent, we want to thank you for your service to the district, but most importantly to the kids. So thanks, and we'll have a great program. Brian?
Well, I know this is kind of like graduation, and as a really wise board member and my mentor superintendent told me years ago, no one comes to graduation to hear the superintendent talk. So make sure and be short and to the point. So I try to be short and to the point tonight because you're going to hear from some of the administrators about fantastic stories with our colleagues. And first up is the always amazing Carrie Majeski, which no one wants to go after Carrie Majeski except Jim Pliner volunteered tonight. He said, I can do it. So Carrie, would you please come forward and recognize our Brooklyn colleagues?
No need. I would love to have Deb and Val and Molly and Diana and Kay come on up. 5. That's 1/3. I know, right? That's scary for all of us. When I look at the number of years on this chart, I think I've been here almost longer than everybody on this pile, so I don't know why I'm not leaving with them. But anyway, I would like to say a few words about each of them because they all have their own special talents and a few interesting tidbits I've just picked up in the last few minutes that I was unaware of that might frame their retirement and what they'll be doing in their retirement. So first of all, congratulations to all of you. We are essentially wiping out a whole wing of the building, and we are essentially taking down second grade's stable person that holds that team together. So I'll talk about Kay first. Kay's main charge after teaching second grade would be keeping Mary Kay in line. Mary Kay, that is a big job.
Not sure which job is hard.
I don't know either. I think 20-some second graders is easier than that. But Kay is the soft-spoken, sweet teacher, and I've often said to parents and other educators that she is like the mother duck and the little ducks just follow her. When you see her teach, you see just this excitement in her eyes and this genuine love for each kid, what they bring to the table and how she connects with them. And she can masterfully run any classroom in a calm, kind manner and gets great success. In several meetings this year when we're looking at student data and such, she's like, my kids are great, they're doing fine. And I think that's a testament to Kay's expertise, always growing, always learning, and having great success. So when I think about what her future is outside of the classroom, I do know factually there will be travel. The woman loves to travel overseas, in the United States and so on. I do know that she'll be with her grandkids, that she has 4, that are now closer than they have been. Some of them were also overseas with her travel bug, and they're back. I know she loves to garden and be outside, but I also found out that upon retirement, her husband Mike, who retired last year, and he's been volunteering a bunch at Brooklyn this year, I did find out that there is a skunk hunt going on in their neighborhood, and that Kay will be dressed up and ready to go with that. So stay tuned, there may be more adventures forward. So congratulations, Kay. So then there's this one. Wow. The one thing I would say about Diana is, and I've told her this, if I ever needed to hear a difficult message or something that might be hard to hear, she's the person you want delivering that message. I've sat in several IEPs with her when she might have to tell a parent, gosh, your kid's struggling with this, or it's going to be hard for your kid to get there, but here's our plan to move forward. She is so masterful in how she deals with kids and parents, staff, and what I get a bang out of, my kid came home several times through the course of kindergarten and first grade. He's like, how do I get in with her? How do I get down there? She's making pancakes, she's playing games, and that's so true. I think he even tried to get a list for a while. So true of watching her teach. She is like a magician, so excited, so engaging, so much fun. Her fun extends beyond the classroom. She's got a wicked sense of humor, a crazy, like, witty stance with her. You might see there's something that doesn't make sense in what I wrote in the booklet. She writes messages backwards, she's like a backwards mirror. She can do this as a trick. She writes funny poems, great social stories for kids, and is just a doll. I'm worried that in retirement, she's not going to be busy enough, but I do suspect that she might be running for public office. I have no idea what this is about, but I want to work the room, hand them out, so I don't know what this means, and I'm a little nervous. But Diana, you have been just a treat to work with. Thank you. We have Val Murphy here, so I guess they couldn't leave without the other. They're sort of like peanut butter and jelly down there. And in reading the little blurb in the booklet, I'm nervous about their sink in their room and what went wrong with glue. And Tom Fisher, do you want to come down maybe tomorrow before you leave town?
I'm sure it wasn't me denies it.
There's something here. Anyway, Val is awesome. She is the most complete, detailed, dialed-in person in terms of what a kid needs and when. A parent came to me recently talking about both the ladies, about a little, at 3 at the time, he's now a 4th grader, who had maybe 2 or 3 words. And that parent came and spoke about how Val and Diana both worked hours around the clock to get this little guy speaking. He is now top of his class for reading, brilliance, and math, has no problem sharing his ideas and so on. So I thank these ladies, and that's just how Val is. She's so in tune with these families that she's connected with over the years and provides great support. So I asked her, and she's just mild-mannered. She probably hates me talking about her in front of a crowd. So I asked her the other day, I'm like, so like, what's going to happen in retirement? She's like, oh, I don't really have anything planned. Although I know she sold her house and she's selling her house and is moving into a condo. She's like, yeah, but I'm going to go to Spain. What? You have nothing, but you have nothing planned. I know Val likes the Madison area with, in terms of like the Overture Center and plays and so on, so I hope that she's out enjoying the culture of the area, but missing us just a little bit.
I will, for sure.
Oh, just this much. That's a better answer. Thank you, Val. Got some good stuff on this one just recently, too. I had the honor of working with Molly in a couple different buildings. She just shows up wherever I am, which I love. And she is not above riding trikes down hallways, working on scooters. Her job just is a blast because she's just goofing around with kids, and it's legit. So it's nothing to see her just, somersaulting, shooting baskets, again, the scooters, and that's her job. She loves fitness, loves working with kids, gets their goals set. I think of one kid earlier, I don't know if it was fall or winter, and the kid was kind of not loving PT because this one works him hard. And we had this little discussion about talking to that child about makes your muscles strong, makes your muscles strong. And that's all you hear her saying to him, and he is just the proudest boy right now because he gets it now and why he's working with her. Always wearing a smile, involved with our fitness movements at school, getting people out and moving, involved at the district level, so it's a huge loss to lose Molly. But great news, I have designed, she's got a grandbaby on the way, and that's great, but I have designed her retirement, and we are working to get her to be a bus driver. So I've heard there's an opportunity, stop, I'm not done with you. Marcel, her husband, is one of our bus drivers, and he's a hoot too, so I can't imagine them being home during the day without some sort of like before and after school focus. So we've got her signed up, and she doesn't know it yet, so you can congratulate her. She's driving the bus! I like it. Then we have the lovely Deb. Now Deb is amazing because she's like ninja sneaky. Anything that ever needs to be done at Brooklyn, all of a sudden it's done and you don't know why. Like who did it? Who took care of it? Whether it's sewing a shirt it was for an employee who was having chemo and so on, I can whip that up and it's done. Whether it's a stage curtain, you don't even know what she really does yet because she does all this other stuff. She can look at anything in Brooklyn and go, oh yeah, I got an idea for that. This woman should be writing patents and doing inventions and creating things because everything she touches is gold. Deb has worked in early childhood for a long time. Apparently she's graduating out. And she's masterful with kids. I feel badly for Liz Starkman, our early childhood teacher, because she's losing Deb. She's losing Molly. She's losing Diana. And I don't know what Liz did, but so Deb can handle anything that comes her way. She's so engaging for kids. She's ridden the scooter as well. But just quietly goes about her work and always brings great success to school. She was on our design committee when we did our remodel, and I'm just an idiot when it comes to color and design, and what she'd come up with, what about blue and the wood tone? What about shades like this? And things like I would have never thought of, like the most valuable person on that team. And that's just how she rolls, a quiet strength that we will definitely miss for kids and staff. There, that cute little guy in the corner. Awesome. Thank you, Brooklyn.
We're off to the high school and gym.
Jim Planner, I'd like to invite Kathy Hauser up with me. Kathy's family is here today. Husband Hugh, son Ben, I think that's another son there.
That's Eric.
Eric, I didn't have a chance to meet Eric. Ben is married to Celia, who's running around.
Married to Claire.
Married to
Celia's
Claire.
the one running.
Oh, got it. Claire was a 2007 graduate from
2009.
Her mom was a librarian here, correct? So we've got a little Oregon in the family, and we're happy that they're here with us today. And speaking of family, Kathy has been a part of the Oregon High School family for 17 years. She has been as a department chair for us for quite a while in the special ed department, and has been a leader and advocate for kids and staff alike. I really appreciate the opportunity that I had to be broken in by Kathy as I took over in the high school, and I really appreciated the opportunity to work collaboratively with her to serve kids. So often her colleagues will remember her as somebody that is kid first and really focused on providing systems and structures that support all students. I think about, in particular this year, a student who was on her caseload who we weren't sure was going to get through, that it was a long struggle, and not only did he get through and find his way, he got through early, and Kathy helped find a way, that next step, that pathway beyond Oregon High School, so that young man had a plan when he left us, and a little bounce in his step when he was kind of really not sure, and it was really unclear. So we thank you. We are working feverishly to carry on that work that you're leaving behind, and we really wish you the best. Kathy said that she doesn't necessarily have great plans. She's going to take it easy in the fall and ease into a few of the activities that might draw her interest. So thank you so much, Kathy. The high school has a couple other folks that we would mention that aren't here with us. Joan Carls really retired at the end of last year, kind of after the dust had settled, and she decided that she was going to kind of slip up quietly, and we weren't going to let her go. But Joan was a counselor here for a long time and wonderfully student-centered. Our guidance staff really looked to her for a lot of institutional memory that left. She was a part of my leadership team as well, and was again committed to students and success. And so Joan is missed and recognized as well. And then our librarian, Karen Taylor, left at semester. She had a grandbaby and decided it was time to kind of devote to being grandma and helping her son and daughter with the realty business. And so she's off and we wish her well, and she stopped by for a few of our social occasions and is doing really well. So thank you all, and I'm going to turn it back over to you, Brian.
Thank you, Jim. Jim reminded me of something really important. We have about 700 employees district-wide, and when we think of the number of families that impacts and the number of family members in the greater Oregon community, I'm going to ask all of the relatives of a retiree if you would please stand up right now. Don't be shy. If you're a spouse of a retiree, I'd like you to stand up for a second, or a grandchild, or a son or a daughter. Please stand up for a second. Thank all of you, because we know you hear probably a few Oregon School District stories over the dinner table, or while you're riding in the car, or maybe as educators, we love to talk, and we love talking about school, and we seem to be talking about it all the time. So thank you for being patient with all of us. Next, we are off to RCI and Mr. Zurowick.
Can I have Heather come up with me as well? We have a shared staff member.
Absolutely.
So before we jump in, I probably called you up too soon, Chris.
That's all right.
Flexibility. I want to recognize Susie Dunn. She retired this year. She stepped away from her position last winter during the 15-16 school year. But as you look in the booklet, all the memories that Susie has left for all the district staff members as well as the students. A couple things that really stand out in this booklet is her great sense of humor. She had the, I got it done before you even asked for it. She worked in our workroom to make sure that teachers had everything they needed ready. She was a supervisor at lunchtime. She basically did anything and everything that you needed, so that way teachers had what they need and our students had the ability to be successful. One of the pieces that stood out in my short time with her is she noticed kids in the cafeteria who might not have the opportunity to make good connections with other kids. They were kind of quiet. They were always in the back of the lunch line. She would go grab those kids and move them up to the front line, and just seeing the kid glow because someone made that personal connection with her just really made my heart warm, seeing that interaction that Susie had with our students. Staff miss her every time we walk into our workroom. We think of Susie. So she has left a remarkable memory and mark at RCI, and she's missed. So for her 31 years of service to our district, we thank Susie and wish her well. Us and Otherwood have a shared staff member, so Mary, come on up.
Okay. So, thank you. So Mary, on behalf of Netherwood, wanted to share some comments that we had and wanted you to know how much we've appreciated your time working with really our struggling readers, those who need it the most. You've helped countless students practice reading, their fluency skills, and having just someone to connect with. And that's, as all the educators here know, is one of the most important things about education. So we appreciate your way of doing that. It's not easy for some of our students to crack the code, and you've helped them do that and gain confidence and have pride in themselves as a student and a learner. So we appreciate that. This next comment is interesting in that in reading some of the comments, I would have never known, based on your gentle demeanor, that your love of riding a Harley. So it doesn't go with the quiet, gentle demeanor that I see that, but that's good. Definitely your kind spirit allowed you to connect with those students in a special way. You're flexible, your willingness to take on any task, You know, that role, you really are kind of doing a little bit of everything, and sometimes at any moment's notice. And so it takes a special person to be able to do that, so thank you. The reading teachers and classroom teachers appreciate everything you've done for the kids that you've served, and so do I. And so best of luck, and enjoy your time.
You stole the Harley piece. One of the pieces that we don't have the opportunity to hear all the time are the personal stories that our educators have the chance to impact. We had a young man come to us in 5th grade who knew virtually little English. And Mary was able to work with this young man very intensely, one-on-one, for his 2 years at RCI. Now he's over at the middle school. And the way he progressed throughout his time at RCI is due to Mary's compassion, the relationship that she connected with him, and just really instilled that genuine love for reading. And when you can see passion coming from the person who's working with you, it makes that student be engaged. And that was one thing that Mary brought to us each and every day. I wish I would have had the opportunity to work longer with you, Mary, but one of the pieces that also stands out is just the compassion. I can't talk about Harley, Chris already got that for me. But you know, our hopes that you have the ability to have a lot of long rides on that wonderful motorcycle in retirement and enjoy your grandchildren. So congratulations and thank you for everything you did at RCI and Netherwood.
No, we're going to mix it up a little bit. I learned just as I came in that Candace is going to do a presentation tonight, and I'm looking for Candace. There she is. Please join me in welcoming Candace. As you can see, most of us go slightly script-free, so it's sort of like live television almost.
I am not unscripted.
Okay, well, excellent.
I have the distinct honor of talking about Carol, and I have, I think, a page for every year that she was here. So I'm going to be here for a while.
Carol,
Just letting
come
you
on
know.
up.
And I recognize that vibe.
Good things are coming. So Carol has been in the district for 30 years. She has seen just about everything, I think. Started out with Mark Young, and by the time I got here in 2001, Carol was already mentoring people. At that time, she and Sandy Eskridge were mentoring 2 very young school psychologists that were headed up to Brooklyn and Rome Corners. So lots of administrators, lots of special ed directors, lots of IDEA iterations, and lots of changes in paperwork. So I know you'll miss all of that. I know, especially the paperwork, right? So I have a few comments from some folks that I wanted to share with you before we look in the box. One of them is here. Heather Spiem shared some thoughts. So I thought I would take a few minutes to read some of Heather's comments. She said that Carol is child-focused, empathetic, collaborative, analytical, and reflective. And those are just a few of the words that came to mind when she was thinking about you. With close to 1,000 students being served at the 2 schools, you've been a little bit busy, right? A little bit busy all the time. But very responsive to children, their parents, and teachers who seek her out in need of her expertise. There are so many aspects to what Carol has brought to the school district over the past 30 years. She wanted to highlight a few of them. She understands the importance of continually learning, trying new things out, reflecting and making adjustments along the way. One example is facilitation of social thinking skills. That was one of the things that Heather mentioned that you facilitated with great success, but you observed that not all students were making the gains that you had hoped, and so you heard about a social thinking curriculum, researched it, figured it out, and implemented it immediately. And to many students' success, and made it fun the whole time. One of the other things that she mentioned is that you always come to the table with parents as equal partners, that you always listen to their perspective, observations, ideas, and dreams for their child. The same holds true for your relationships with your fellow teachers. You're a team player who collaborates and partners up to problem solve how best to meet each child's needs and support children wherever they are at, academically, socially, and emotionally. You've served on the Prairie View leadership team since it began. I don't know when that was, but it's been a while.
7 years.
You have an ability to step back and look analytically at problems and help the team think through data, trends, and assist in developing hypotheses to improve the school as a community. She says, well, it sounds not so fun maybe. The truth is it's anything
She
but
had a
that.
lot of time on her hands.
She said that, you don't leave your humor at the door. That alongside your teammates, you know how to balance getting at the heart of what needs to be done, yet leaving room for the team to laugh, share stories, and converse. And a bonus is your snack rotation. It's always healthy, and Bob makes cookies. The best cookies, I think, right? Angela also shared some things. She said, things that I've learned from Carol. If we let the kids take the credit for their successes, we can hold them accountable for all of their decisions. It builds them up and helps them be in control of their own futures. How you listen is just as important as what you say. You can find something positive in any person, and it's important to do so. Be a team with your colleagues despite any internal disagreements. You can put all of your worries in a box at night so you can rest. And her most remembered line from any meeting was, here's what we're going to do. She said, we can rest easy knowing it's all decided and we have a plan that will almost always work to a good extent. So those words actually made me think about, what kind of box might you be putting your worries in, Carol? This was described actually as a time capsule. For those of you who can't see the writing on the box, it says School Psychology Department, important, confidential, school psychology access only. But I'm going to break the rule and I'm going to open the time capsule Oh my God.
Oh
And see what tools Carol might have been using to problem solve. You know what they do.
So awful.
Just looking for them.
We're a little family. I don't know what year we started using these, but we definitely weren't using them for a long time.
They all look like they're ready to do battle, don't they?
So when those went out of vogue, apparently we went to a softer, kinder, gentler version.
See why I was looking?
Really, you can feel that all your grandchildren and children in the school district are safe. We are not using them. We really do not have use for them.
I'm too scared.
I also got a few words from Judy Walliver, who is a longtime counselor in the district and recently retired and is in Arizona. Couldn't make it back, but shared some sentimental thoughts about Carol. And she said, I knew the first week I worked with Carol that she was going to be a strong and positive force for kids and families. On one of my first days, Carol asked me how long I planned to work in Oregon. Not sure how I should respond, she went on to tell me if I planned on leaving after a year, she wasn't going to give me certain students for my caseload because they needed continuity. Needless to say, she ended up giving me those students for my caseload, and I will always be grateful for all Carol taught me over the years, and especially our friendship. Carol is a fierce advocate for students and families. She could do more in a day than most people, usually because she was working most nights and on weekends. She went over and above to provide what students and families needed, lunch bunch groups, Green Squad, and parent groups, to name a few. Her sense of humor made even the worst situations a little brighter, although I'm not at liberty to repeat some of it. Carol's ability to build positive relationships, even in the most challenging situations, her professional knowledge, willingness to look for solutions outside the box, fortunately, thoughtfulness and wisdom will last long after she retires. Carol's legacy will be the lasting impact she has had on the hearts and souls of so many students, families, and staff over the years. And now it's time for Carol and Bob to have some time together, to relax, travel, read, cook, and be with their family and friends. Wishing you all the best on your new adventures, dear friend. And a final note, she says, please take lots of pictures of Carol as she retires, since that is something she absolutely loves.
Put it down.
So while we were going, I'm going to ask that we just have a couple of seconds so I can get my PowerPoint going.
Thanks for coming.
I was thinking about those crazy puppets and thinking that maybe there were other tools in the toolbox that we could use to predict Carol's retirement future. So hopefully I'm going to get it up here in a second. So I went through and I took this and I thought, well, there's a few, every time you go through it, you can find a different picture, I think. So I started out with this one. And I don't know, it took me a few times through before I decided how I really wanted to put that. So I wasn't smart enough to save the first time through. But what I saw in this was Carol's angel's wings for all of the good work that she's done at the Oregon School District. And in this one, I saw Carol and Bob dreaming of their future, looking in the distance at maybe a mountain to climb, or maybe the Eiffel Tower, who knows. Here, you gotta be dancing, right? Dining, dancing, music, I think there's a little music in the background. Again, Paris maybe. This one I thought was harder. But I thought maybe it was the backside of one of those bears that were running away from the bear spray in your backpack. Maybe Carol kind of rescuing some children, or maybe you're just flying in your newfound freedom from your lack of responsibilities that you'll have now. This, I thought, maybe just one of those ways that crumpled IEPs look. Or, it kind of goes smaller at the top, so maybe it's a release of your responsibilities. The work demand's getting smaller as we go. I thought this was maybe just an overhead view of collaborative problem solving. All the heads around a round table, meeting student needs. And here, I thought, is a strong foundation. Anatomically, I thought of this a little bit anatomically, ribs, backbone, all of those things that you have built in the district and leave as your legacy. A bonfire in celebration of your work with us. And this, I think, is just a great future in retirement. So thank you for all that you've done for us, Carol.
Carol actually has 3 of her principals here today. Her newest principal, Dawn Goltz. Her second newest principal, Chris Cluck, and an individual that she's worked with for quite a few years, and I didn't know they were coming tonight, and this just gives you a sense of how big the Oregon family is, because these are Oregon family members that live in Africa now. And that's Dr. Heather Sveum and her husband Steve. Great to see you. Our reach is far and wide. Chris, we're off to Netherwood.
Thank you. Well, before I bring the next person up, I do want to say a word to Carol, and that's just thank you, really. 2 years it's been a real pleasure. I've grown a lot just in conversation with you. The knowledge you have, your intelligence, your commitment to children, your problem solving, the solutions you give us, and it really is giving it to us, so thank you. It's just been wonderful. I will definitely miss it. We finally interviewed for a replacement. I think we were dragging our feet. We kept blaming it on the school board and staffing and all that stuff, but it was really just us being afraid. But hopefully we find someone who can grow and maybe become you someday, but just thank you. Yeah. All right. Time for the man, the myth, the legend. No PowerPoints. Try not to embarrass you or anything like that.
Pictures that I
No,
did?
no pictures. Well, I think there's a good picture in the booklet, but you know, first I've got to think about, you know I've only been here 2 years, so I'm reading through an email and saying, reminder everyone about retirements. There's some new names, and I see Tom Fisher on there. I'm like, Tom! I had to chase him out of the building as he was leaving at the end of the day. You want to tell me anything? So thank you. First of all, as I think about you, Tom, I wonder, how can one man be everywhere at all times for everyone? Clearly, you watch the Harry Potter films and you learned how to disapparate. Because you get from one end of probably one end of Brooklyn, getting the mail and that stuff, and one end of Netherwood to the other end, over to Prairie View, out to the fields, everywhere at all times it seems, and always meeting everyone's needs. So it's amazing. Really, things get done even before I realized I maybe asked you to think about getting something done. We'll maybe have a conversation and thinking it's somewhere in the back of our minds, and then I'll walk down the hallway and a room's been painted, or a floor's been cleaned, or something's been hung and it's done. So it's been amazing to see that kind of response from you the last 2 years. And from what I can tell by everything that's been written and how much everyone appreciates you, it's been not just the last 2 years, it's been 25 years of that kind of service, so thank you for that. Even though I know sometimes probably you were a little skeptical of something I asked, like, you really want to do it that way? But I appreciate you going along for the ride. As you are always, you're ready with a smile and a helping hand. You know, like last summer I come to you and I say, Tom, do we have any bulletin boards? We've got this new curriculum for math, Bridges, and it seems like we need about 20 bulletin boards. Of course, we didn't have bulletin boards, but you were willing to help me out, drive over to the swap shop, pick them up, bring them back, hang them all, just to meet our teachers' needs. And so I know I speak for all the teachers at Netherwood now and who have always been there. You have been instrumental in helping them get their job done, and that affects kids. And so thank you for that. We all depend on you. It goes without saying that you're the glue that keeps it all running. From adjusting temperature to cleaning up all the things you mentioned to the guy for the paper. We'll leave it at that. I know there's one thing you won't miss that we've had a few of them the last couple of years, and that's when the 1-800 from CEC shows up on our phones. And there's another alarm going off on the north entrance to Netherwood. I know you won't miss getting those phones. Many of you probably know, and maybe some of you don't, but this is a fixture at assemblies. When you need someone to wear a wig or get on a scooter, he's the man for the job. So he's filled in on a lot of assemblies, and kids love that about you. I do worry a little bit that you're going to have a good plan to stay busy, because I'm thinking that come September 5th, I'm going to stand in that parking lot, the circle down by the pool, and at 8 o'clock that black truck's going to drive in, and it's going to be you. So I hope you've got somewhere to keep yourself busy so the truck doesn't bring you here on its own. And last time, you are child-centered. You are not just about keeping the building running. You are truly about kids. All of our kids love you. When they see you, they smile. They love to talk to you. You make them feel special because you notice them. And not every adult always notices kids the way Tom does and helps them to feel special. So I thank you for that.
Well, there you have it, our class of 2017. I happen to have the benefit, some of you don't know this, but the district office happens to be in Netherwood. So I bump into Tom quite a bit, and when I came to the district a decade plus ago, I was making a little remodeling in my office. And we'll see if you remember. You know what I'm going to say, right?
Yeah.
I borrowed Tom's drill, and which he was really cool about it. He came in and checked on me, and then I did something that I probably should have checked with him first. I brought my own Sawzall to cut a little piece of wood. And he walked by, poked his head into the office, and he said, "I'm going to come back to see if you have 10 fingers." And I asked Janie, "You got to tell me who that guy is." I really like him. And Tom and I bump into each other frequently as I'm either coming in or going out of the district, and he really is an individual that connects with kids. And that's something that is so important to all of us that are educators. You heard that story about every person that was up front. Our connection with kids, that's what makes a difference. That's what lasts for a lifetime. That's why when we have an opportunity to recognize our colleagues, it is one of the most important things that we do. We have beautiful space now. We had beautiful space a decade plus ago before I came to the district. We now have more beautiful space, but it's not the beautiful space that sets us apart as a district. What sets us apart are the caring people that work with kids every day of the week. And that's never going to be old-fashioned. That's never going to go out of style. I think it's one of the reasons we have families and community members looking at us in Dane County and continuing to move to our community. So it's really a testament to our class of 2017. And I'm going to ask all of you that are retiring this year to stand one more time so we can recognize you. You have one more short assignment, and Amy Miller has me trained exceptionally well. We are going to get a group picture. So friends and relatives, you are welcome to stay around. We have lots of fantastic rolling pin cake if you are a cake person. Please have another piece. We have some punch as well. And we're going to get a picture of our 2017 retirees. Thanks for coming tonight and supporting this wonderful group of individuals.